Grown-ups are very, very, very odd, according to a little 8-year-old girl, but growing up isn't the problem, forgetting is. This is the story of The Little Prince, a very heartwarming retelling and continuation of the classic book by Antoine Exupéry about a man who is stuck in the Sahara Desert and meets an unusual little boy in the desert, and he's wearing a funky looking costume and he orders him to draw a sheep? That's a great way to start off a conversation. Hey, you! Draw me a sheep. The history of how this story came to be is mainly based on the dramatic experience in Exupéry's life, and how he actually crashed his plane in the midst of World War II in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and he made it out alive without any hydration. Exupéry took it upon himself to write a story about that experience, but add a little more twists and turns. Along with inspiration and warm heartfelt themes, the rose in the story is a representation of Exupéry's wife, whom he adored very much. The glass dome represents the protection and care he had for his wife. The baobab trees on asteroid B6112 is meant to represent Nazis attempting to destroy the planet. So the baobab trees kinda go a little too far. And the prince represents Exupéry as a young boy, so basically it's like the younger version of Exupéry meeting the older version. That's interesting. But how about we move along with the movie, which is technically a sequel to The Little Prince. The story of this movie was never made into a book. It's a completely new and original idea, and it works perfectly. The plot involves a young, nameless 8-year-old girl who is desperate to get into the school she wants and start a successful career.
Thank you.
Well, that went well. The little girl has an overly protective, busy, watchful, strict, and somewhat crazy mother who wears a suit almost the whole movie and creates a life plan for her daughter that almost covers up the kitchen wall.
The minute of the hour of the day of the week of the month of the year of your life?
Jeez, not even I can handle this. Well, the little girl seems fine with it at first and does what her schedule tells her to do, but not until she gets a floating paper in the window which contains the story of the Little Prince. The floating paper was flown by the aviator, who is the narrator in Exupéry's story, and we see now that he is grown older. He threw it as a sign of forgiveness after starting up a plane in his backyard and nearly killing the little girl, with a wing that flew through the fence into her house. My God. I almost killed you and destroyed your house, so here's a piece of paper with a story in it. Please forgive me. Well, the little girl does forgive him after reading the heartfelt book and discovering items containing little figures of the Little Prince in a glass jar filled with pennies. This is where we come to one of the most emotional themes of the movie, as the little girl becomes friends with the aviator, and they have numerous fun times with each other, and he teaches her about love and compassion. We see their friendship grow over the course of the movie, and we see great animated features of the Little Prince story to kind of keep the narrative and artistic style that Exupéry had. We get cute little montages with a cute little theme song playing in the background. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Okay, what the... Uh-oh. The old kook tried to drive. Oh man, that's so funny. Well, now the little girl's in trouble and her mom has her do twice as much work, but the little girl basically tells her to sit and spin and wants to leave with the aviator to go find a well and see if the Little Prince could help them. With what exactly, who knows. But then the movie goes from being a jolly happy film to a dramatic one after the aviator tells the girl the finale of Exupéry's story, which ends in a depressing note. After the aviator and the prince split, the Little Prince is bitten by a snake and is believed to be dead. Well, great, now the little girl hates the Little Prince. Well, great timing too, because next thing you know, the aviator has a heart attack and the little girl feels guilty about the whole thing and expresses that she needs him in his life. It's a heartbreaking moment. Now she needs the Little Prince's help, even though she said she hated him, which is another theme that plays here. You gotta keep your faith in people, for those certain people can help you move forward in life, and that's what the little girl is willing to do, and she does. But the Little Prince doesn't! What the hell happened to him? Now he's Mr. Prince, wearing a tie, acting a fool, voiced by Paul Rudd? What has happened to the Little Prince? This certainly is a weird way to continue the story of the Little Prince, but it's redeemed later. So basically the reason he's like this is because he was seduced to this school that does these hardcore learning courses that involve this.
Yes, please sign there. Standard consent form.
Holy shit, this is crazy. All the characters from The Little Prince are present, but they're not what they were before. The conceited man is now a police officer, but still acts a fool when people applaud him. The king is now an elevator operator. Great transitions here. And the businessman is no longer counting the stars, he's owning the stars. So basically, he's the jackass of the bunch, and the main villain. Also, there's a stuffed fox that comes to life. It should have been Nicholas Wilde.
I'm not hopeless. I'm hopeful. That's right. I'm full of hope. And I love a rose.
The funniest part in the film. Well, Mr. Prince tells them to sit and spin, and they escape with the plane and free all the stars so they can align with outer space. Another theme in the movie here, be an inspirational human being, not a forgettable one. The girl and Prince discover the Biobabs in ruins. Damn Nazis. And the rose has died after all these years. The theme of faith comes into play here as the little girl feels hopeless and thinks she will lose the aviator. She then discovers the prince not crying at all because he can still see her and remembers her, which turns him back into the little prince, no longer voiced by Paul Rudd. Sorry, Paul. But this is a great scene, and many can be inspired by it, like me. After it's over, the little girl returns home, rekindles with her mom, and gives the aviator the Little Prince book she made. I love the ending. It leaves a very heartwarming message and makes you happy at the end. Oh, and James Franco is the fox. Just thought I'd throw that out there. He sounds sexual the whole movie. Anywho, The Little Prince is an amazing retelling sequel of the classic Exupery film, and it leaves me feeling good every time I watch it. Highly recommend it. And who says grown-ups can't enjoy animated movies? They may be very, very, very odd, but this movie is worth it.
Do you have a driver's license? Learner's permit?
Oh.
How old are you?